From the BBC World Service, in association with ABC and All India Radio, this is Stumped.
Hello and welcome to Stumped, your intercontinental hit of news, features and debate from the quirky world of cricket. I'm Alison Mitchell in London, and for the first and hopefully last time, I found myself preparing for this programme sitting in the accident and emergency unit of my local hospital. I took a bit of a tumble off a horse at the weekend, so some sore ribs. And with a history of a lung collapse a few years ago, I thought best not to take any chances. Anyway, I was seen. No major damage, all good, just a bit sore, have to ride it out, excuse the pun. Anyway, very glad to see Jim's smiling face and that you managed to come back from the French vineyards, Jim. You've prized yourself away after what I'm sure has been a lovely few weeks.
It has been excellent. There was a little bubbly stuff going around. Thank you, Ali. I'm back home in Sydney now, but the main purpose, shall I say, of the visit was to tour the battlefields of World War I and World War II with a couple of very good guides. It was fascinating and quite sobering, actually, to think back on how all those people lost their lives so tragically. So we had 10 days of that in Belgium and Normandy, D-Day in particular. Just a fascinating examination of all that and the amount of planning that went into it all, and how the engineering was quite remarkable to do it. And then we chilled out for 10 days down in the south of France, which was comfortable, you'd have to say. So I'm back, and I think most of my brain's still working despite all the bubbles that have been soaked up. Nice to see you all. And you, Sunil, as well.
Welcome back. Bienvenue.
Hi, I'm Cyril Gupta for All India Radio here in New Delhi. And I've been to the places, some of those places that you mentioned, Jim, many, many, many years ago. I remember Waterloo, especially that monumental Waterloo. That was very, you go back in history and you remember all that sort of thing. But right now in India, it's sports, it's cricket actually that's grabbing the headlines. The IPL, of course, is in full flow. And quite frankly, I have not been able to keep track of who's doing what and to whom and when, because every day is a new game and it's all happening so quick. But I think the big news right now is the WTC final team that's been selected just a couple of days ago. And of course, there are a couple of surprises or non-surprises, the case may be. So we shall see. And of course, we're going to be talking about it later on in this program.
Really. Keep your powder dry for the moment. But good to have you with us, Sunil.
Absolutely.
And great to see you, Jim, too. Now, we're going to start by talking about Ireland, because it has been a bit of a rollercoaster ride for the Ireland men's team since they gained Test status back in 2017. For smaller nations, Test status is the holy grail. When you reach that pinnacle, it can sometimes be a bit of a rough ride once you get there. Now, Ireland went into their second test in Gaul this week, having lost all 5 tests played in their short history so far. The most recent being the first test, when Sri Lanka recorded their biggest ever test win, a thumping victory by an innings and 280 runs inside 3 days. Well, the second test has produced a glut of runs on both sides, and it's turned out to be an historic one for Ireland, who posted their highest ever test total to date of 492, with Paul Stirling and Curtis Campher becoming just the third and fourth Irishmen to hit centuries in the game's longest format. Now, before we got going on the programme today, before Jim had swung his way back in from France, Sunil and I spoke to Ireland men's head coach, South African-born head coach Heinrich Malan, who first of all explained to us why he wasn't with the team in Gaul.
Look, we've got a pinnacle event coming up next week against Bangladesh in the World Super League. So just getting ourselves prepared for that. And look, it's an exciting time around the world of cricket at the moment with, people moving into different roles. And we know different, hopefully playing a lot of cricket this summer.
I'm interested in unpacking sort of what challenges in particular a new Test team faces, since you got that Test status. And in particular as a coach, what challenges you face compared to a coach of a more established Test country?
Well, our biggest challenge is that our lads hasn't played any first-class cricket for 3 years domestically. I mean, that puts a whole new spin on things when you think there's been such a huge focus on the white ball side of things. And Ireland have shown over a period of time that in white ball cricket we compete and we've got an understanding of how we want to go about our business. So that's been first and foremost the hardest challenge is telling people to not just hit every ball for 6, but actually bat for 6 hours. So look, that's been a fun part of the challenge. But again, the players have shown that they're adaptable, they're versatile. They can play what's in front of them, and hopefully with a little bit more experience that we'll gain over the next couple of years in Test cricket and reintroducing our first class system, that gap will become smaller, and hopefully as a Bangladesh or Sri Lanka has shown over periods of time, they get better at playing Test cricket, and we'll get some better results on the board.
Yeah, and how will it unfold in terms of that first class system? And I guess how long to make it feel like it's truly established, that it's sort of feeding a pipeline, and also that players, do you get a sense players want to succeed in a test arena for Ireland, given all the offers around the world and growing with T20 leagues?
Yeah, very much so. And I got this question asked the other day, I think the biggest compliment we can have is when people like a Lorcan Tucker or Harry Tector or Josh Little, who's even at the IPL, tells you that they want to play Test cricket. That's still the biggest carrot. All these lads want to play Test cricket. They want to get tested at the purest form of the game. And look, it'll be a reintroductory phase from a domestic point of view. From next year, hopefully through the ICC funding, we'll get that elevated budget piece. And then it's about making sure, we get our domestic system up and running fully. And that's going to take a little bit of time as well. It's the added money is not just going to magically put the whole structure in place. So there's still a lot of hard work in that space. But look, it's an exciting opportunity for us to start something, plant some seeds, and hopefully those trees grow and leave some shadows for a long period of time.
Yeah, Heinrich, this is Sunil. Well, you talked about a challenge, and there's a challenge coming up in first week of June against England. And England, of course, have completely revolutionized their game. It's a different England that was there last year and coming up this year. What we've seen before, and this whole buzz or obsession about Bazball. How do you hope not just to cope with that, but learn from that?
Yeah, look, that'll be a total different challenge again in the red ball space, won't it? We would have played 3 tests now, all in the subcontinent. Again, we would have no first-class cricket leading into that test. So luckily, we've got a first-class fixture scheduled against Essex as a warm-up game. But it's going to be a total different challenge, obviously in different conditions. Hopefully, with the conditions suited to home conditions a little bit more, we'll be able to adapt. And hopefully, as we go over the next little period, some of our injured players, especially from a bowling point of view, is on the return to play plan, and hopefully we're going to have a full quota to pick from, and very much looking forward to the second test at Lord's.
And Heinrich, what about the sort of finances of the game and the ability or the desire for Ireland to be hosting as much Test cricket as you're playing away? Is that going to be feasible in the future, in the longer term?
Luckily, I'm the coach and not the finance director. But look, I guess that's one of our biggest challenges, isn't it? And it's correlated to what I said earlier on the ICC funding and what that model looks like moving forward. Hopefully we get into a space where I think the understanding is out there that it's quite expensive hosting a test match. And realistically, all our players want to play at home. They want to play in front of family and friends and the venues that they're comfortable with. So look, hopefully moving forward, that model can change and we can have, a lot of domestic first class cricket, which then leads to us having some home tests as well.
And do you feel as well that the Ireland team is getting kind of wider cut through across Ireland as well in terms of that support base? I mean, you mentioned family and friends, and I remember back in the 2007 World Cup, Ireland there having that loyal band of tight followers, but that support's already broader now. How do you feel it's cutting through?
And I guess it'll become bigger and bigger. The more exposure we get, the more top tier teams we've played. If you look over the last 12 months. We've played some big hitters, South Africa, Australia, England, New Zealand. We hosted them here last year, India last year. It's a tough learning curve in the deep end when you play those big teams the whole time. But at the same time, we've shown that we can compete, and it's generated a lot of interest here around the island. And, the more we can get the exposure to play those top tier teams, the better we'll get over a shorter period of time.
Well, good luck for the coming weeks, and in particular, I look forward to seeing you over here at Lord's. And thank you so much for being with us on Stumped.
Thanks very much, Heinrich. Thanks.
Thanks for having me, guys. Look forward to catch up in the summer.
Well, next on Stumped, it is all change in the coaching setup for Pakistan, with a number of new international appointments, including former coach Mickey Arthur back as team director. Now, he was coach between 2016 and 2019, but this is now a bit of a unique setup for Arthur because he's currently coach of Derbyshire in the county championship in England, yet also now performing the Pakistan role. So Jim Sunil, it's a bit of an intriguing one, this one, as to how it will work, how successful it may be having dual roles. I don't know whether you can think of a similar scenario in international cricket. I mean, we see coaches sharing roles. We've just seen Heinrich Malan, not being with his team and handing duties over to another coach. That happens a bit already, but this is kind of different, isn't it? Having a role split across an international team and a domestic team in another country. So how do you think it is going to work? Jim, what's your take?
My take is that Pakistan cricket is always the same. It's always going through these gyrations of politics and personalities. Someone comes in and does a job for a while. Someone doesn't like him. A new president comes on board. They kick the bloke out, like Ramiz Raja. They just kicked him out recently. So who would know? I mean, you change the. It's kind of, I won't say moving to deck chairs, because Pakistan are actually playing some good cricket. And that's despite all the actions that are going on in the background. So really, I got no idea how this is all going to work out. And hopefully the players adjust and perform in the way they've been doing a lot of the time recently.
So does a team director need to be with the team in the country full time?
So what exactly is team director, and what exactly is coach, and what exactly are many other titles that you have? It sounds like a corporate, boardroom where somebody's senior vice president of something. I honestly, I think that there are many, many more people that countries like Pakistan should be looking at. New coaches, they've already been through Mickey Arthur. So many teams have been through Mickey Arthur, and there's nothing against him. It's just the concept of having this dual role, because obviously it's common sense. You cannot have somebody who's going to be a team director of an international test playing nation and also then be away for some time coaching Derbyshire. I have absolutely no idea what the logic is. And Ramiz Raja, he's been scathing about it. I mean, I won't even say the words that he's used in the media, but he's been, scathing is an understatement for what he's been saying. And in a sense, I agree with him, because why him? I mean, is it, thumbing a nose at somebody else? Because if you remember his background with Pakistan, he was the coach in 2017 when they won the Champions Trophy in England and beat India. Sad. And I was there, don't want to talk about it, but they thumped India in that particular game. And I thought that would put him in good stead going forward, right? And a couple of years later, he's sacked and off he goes to Sri Lanka or wherever. So I think this merry-go-round of the same guys, that needs to change. And whether it's Pakistan or anybody else, I think you need to get in fresh ideas, fresh blood.
I'd say one thing about Mickey is that you can't question his passion and dedication, and I'm sure he'd be as committed as possible to both roles without wanting to shortchange either. And I suppose the PCB will be hoping that it doesn't get shortchanged. I do know he has a genuine affection for the Pakistan players that kind of almost grew up underneath him. Some of them were very young when he took over at 2016, and he's seen somebody like Babar Azam almost sort of, as he would say, grow from a boy to a man through being under Mickey's tenureship in that regard. So there's certainly a real kind of commitment on a personal level to that group of players. So I think it would just be really intriguing to see how it balances out, juggling two roles like that. Finally on Stumped, it's been 16 months since Ajinkya Rahane last played Test cricket for India. But he has been called up to the 15-man squad to face Australia in the World Test Championship final in June. Now, Rahane made his Test debut back in 2013 and memorably captained India to the historic series win over Australia in 2021 in the absence of Virat Kohli, you'll remember. But he hasn't played a Test since January last year. Now, it's Rahane's form in the Indian Premier League that's really impressed the selectors. He's averaged more than 50, and if you saw any of Chennai Super Kings against Kolkata Knight Riders this week, well, he was the match winner with an unbeaten 71 in front of 60,000 at Eden Gardens. And Sunil, it's his strike rate at the IPL, isn't it, that's been extraordinary, 199 compared to his usual T20 of 121. But first, as his call-up attracted a lot of attention in India, are fans pleased to see him back?
Yes, attention. Definitely. But I'll just take you back to one game, which was actually the World Test Championship final last year against New Zealand. And I was watching, I was in fact calling that game for All India Radio. And I was appalled actually to see the way that he managed to get himself out despite the fact that, fields had been set precisely for that type of shot. Now, I think he had lost his confidence a little bit at that particular point of time. But the way he's playing, I'm not talking about the runs, the strike rate. I think the freedom with which he's playing, the timing with which he's hitting his shots, I think that is what has attracted the selectors to calling him back into the Indian team. So I think, yes, it's not really a retrograde step, but as we all say, this is just one game. What's going to happen later? That rebuilding of the Indian team hasn't taken place as yet. And I think sooner rather than later, certainly by the end of this year, he has got to rethink this entire team selection.
Yeah, it'd be intriguing to see. What about the Aussies, Jim? Because they named their squad, and David Warner is included, despite poor form over a period of time. Although he rescued his season, didn't he, at the Sydney Cricket Ground with that huge score at the end of the Aussie summer. How have you reflected on that squad that was announced and the subsequent commentary on it?
Well, Warner's actually made a few runs in the IPL, so he's perhaps getting some twilight form. And because I definitely think this is a valedictory tour for him, unless he scores hundreds all over the place. And who knows, he may be one of the most successful batsmen in this Australian team if they get the right conditions with sunny weather and firm pitches, which is what Ben Stokes has asked for. If the groundsmen are listening, do they listen to coaches and captains? I think they do in some places. Anyway, we'll see what happens with that. But I think Warner could be a very key member of the side. The person or persons who are unlucky not to be in that squad, and remember they can change this squad after the Lord's Test. And these guys, Neser and Bancroft, are playing county cricket. So I suppose if their performance is warranted, they could be included. But the problem with these tours now is that they don't play any cricket other than the main games. I mean, this must be the first Ashes tour Australia's ever had where there's not one game, not even between the third and fourth tests. So they're going to be spending a bit of time looking at the blokes in the nets, aren't they, to see how they're going. It's a strong Australian team. I mean, people also forget they are ranked number one in the world, for goodness sake. So someone must think that they can play a bit of cricket.
And bowling, of course, is going to be important, isn't it, in the Ashes? Ben Stokes requesting, saying he would want 8 fit bowlers to choose from. And given that relentless nature of it and no rest period, no warm-up game where, a couple of bowlers could sit out, this could just be the battle of the fittest across these 5 test matches as well. So we will see. Well, that is it for this week's Stumped. Great to have you back with us, Jim. Vive la France. And Sunil, thank you also, and to all of you for listening, of course. And we'll see you again next week. Bye for now.
From the BBC World Service, in association with ABC and All India Radio, this is Stumped.